Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mind Split Cafe. My man Matt, how are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great this early morning. It's fantastic. I'm having a great day.
Yeah, don't sound too enthused there, man. What is it like 7 o'clock over there?
It's early, man. It's early. The early bird gets the worm, right? That's all I got to say.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to be on the show, and this week we've got a fabulous roundtable, and I can't wait for you to introduce them, Chris. So take it away and let's have a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. We have the board members of TAP. So TAP is Texas Addiction. I'm sorry, Kyle. How about you tell me what it is?
It's the Texas Association of Addiction Professionals.
Yeah, sorry
Nice.
about that. But yeah, we have the board members of TAP here today. We're going to discuss a bunch of things, and one of them being the upcoming symposium, May 9th and 10th. Some of y'all might have heard the interview that we did with the individual board members. So that's just going to be an expansion on that interview in a whole episode.
I'm
So
excited
if you
about the
guys want to,
symposium. It's May
yeah,
9th,
I
right?
can't wait. Yeah,
I can't
May
I
wait.
can't
9th and
wait.
10th.
Awesome. Is there free barbecue? Because that's the only reason I go
There's
back to
free
Texas.
something.
There's free
Yeah.
something. All right.
Free
We'll see.
education.
I love it,
Yeah.
Colleen. I love it.
So we'll start with Colleen. Colleen, if you want to introduce yourself to our listeners and kind of run down your position in the on the board, and we'll just go down the line. We'll do Lane, then Kyle after that.
Okay. My name is Colleen Hardgrove, and I am the advocacy chair for the TAP Austin board. And what I do is I participate in the different advocacy stuff that we did. Like, for instance, last year I went up to Washington, D.C. with NADAC and did the day at the Hill. And so we were able to meet with legislators regarding all of the key issues that TAP and NADAC are bringing to the table to help meet the needs of what we need in the community. I also work for Positive Recovery Center. Right now I'm serving as the interim executive director because I'd stepped down, and I'm also managing the Round Rock Outpatient Center.
And Lane, how about yourself?
Hey, my name's Lane Lamalia, and I am the treasurer for the Austin chapter of TAP. I'm the money guy, so I make sure that we have enough money to operate, and if we need money for anything, any events that we want to get involved in, I kind of authorize those payments. And that's pretty much it. I kind of just help out with any other nuts and bolts stuff that's needed.
And
Love it.
correct me if I'm wrong, but you're an interventionist, correct?
Yeah, so I also am a mental health and recovery coach and interventionist. I'm nationally certified as a recovery coach, and I'm certified as an intervention professional. I own Helm Recovery, HELM Recovery, and it's just me, not a big company. I just go out and do interventions about every week, and I carry a caseload of about 5 to 6 coaching clients, coaching and case management.
Honestly, it doesn't have to be big. Like you said, it's not a big. It doesn't have to be big. What you're doing for the community, whether you're saving 10 lives or you're just saving one, like that's a blessing in itself. So kudos to you.
Appreciate it. I like to keep it small.
Yeah.
And Kyle, I know you're a little far from Austin right now, but you want to introduce yourself in a quick rundown?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Kyle Withrow. I am the co-secretary for the board. I think I've been on for coming up on 4 years in this position. I take everybody's emails and RSVPs and try and keep people organized, but not as, it's like herding cats sometimes. And then also what do I do for a living? I am the director. I am not the director. That is not my role. I am on the business development team for Rock Springs Hospital in Georgetown.
Okay.
So we're a detox and mental health stabilization.
Awesome. Yeah,
Nice.
thank you for that. And Meredith, how are you doing today, Meredith?
I'm good, thank you.
Good morning, Meredith.
Good morning. I'm Meredith Muir. I am a licensed professional counselor supervisor and a licensed chemical dependency counselor. On the TAP board, I sit as vice president, and in this role, I support our president, and we'll be preparing to transition into the president role in the next couple of months. And I work with teens and adolescents. I oversee a recovery high school here in Austin and called University High School. And then I also oversee our other program called Keystone, which is a peer-led support program after school for teens and their loved ones. So.
Yeah, I love that little program that you got going on. I think it's very much needed, and I like the structure of it. It's pretty interesting. Matt, I'm gonna have to talk to you about it. It's definitely an interesting structure.
Well, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's get started. Today we've gathered here today to kind of discuss the upcoming symposium, May 9th and 10th, and a little bit of what TAP does in the Austin community. So let's get it started. Who wants to start?
Just so everybody can know, where is the symposium being held? Obviously in Austin, May 9th and 10th, but where exactly is the location?
It's at the Austin South Lake Hotel.
South Park.
South Park Hotel. Thank you. This is the first
South
time
Park
we're
Hotel.
doing it. Yeah, this is the first time we're doing it there. It's a much larger venue, and which enables us to bring in a lot more speakers from all over the place. I think we have 23 speakers right now over the 2 days, broken up into 3 rooms.
So
That's
paint our
fantastic.
listeners a quick picture as to what the logistics is going to look like. Day one starts at this time, runs to this. Like, can you give us a little insight onto how it's going to look, how it's going to run?
I can hopefully, fingers crossed, walk through what it's going to look like. So like Meredith was saying, she's going to be taking over the position of president this year. And so Brittany Bass, the current president, and Meredith are going to do the welcome presentation from 8 to 8:30 on both Thursday and Friday. And then Thursday, we're going to be starting off with our keynote speaker, who is Lori Halloran Steiker, who is the associate dean. Can you tell? I'm sorry, her title is so long. I mean, Lori's amazing. She's amazing, but her title's like 3 paragraphs. I'm trying to put it into marketing material, and I'm like, can I break this down a little bit?
Her business card is a scroll.
It really is. Yes. She sent me her bio yesterday, but she's a professor at UT,
Nice.
distinguished professor, and she's divided her whole life is recovery. She's a person in long-term recovery. She recently earned a Lifetime Achievement Award from Recovery People. She is a researcher and is published and is so accomplished, but above all of that, she is the best human, and we're really honored to have her as our
Palms
keynote speaker this
Behavioral
year.
Health.
So
We understand the journey
Yeah,
to mental wellness.
that's awesome.
So the
Our
first time
dedicated
I
team
met Lori, I was
offers
walking into an
personalized
event,
care for
and
adolescents.
we were in the parking
adults,
lot.
and
It
seniors.
was so random because she goes,
We
"Hey,
focus
hi!"
on
Came up and gave me a
individualized
hug,
treatment
and looked at me and
plans,
goes, "I don't know you, but
addressing
really
a
nice to
wide
meet you,"
range
and
of
then
mental
walked
health
back
needs.
outside.
That's
Our
a great
evidence-based
introduction,
practices
It was
Yeah.
and
awesome.
trauma-informed
And then she was the
care
speaker, and
ensure
from then on,
sensitive and effective
she's
treatment.
amazing. She was one of the biggest advocates
Palms
for bringing
Behavioral
in
Health,
the
healing
University
minds,
High School, the first
empowering
recovery high
lives.
school,
Contact
into
us
the
today.
Austin area. She's amazing. She's amazing. And then after Lori, we're going to be broken up into 3 separate rooms. We have speakers from different parts of the country, all over the state of Texas, speaking on, the title of our event, our symposium, is "It Takes a Village to Recover." And we really, I think, touched on so many different touch points of the recovery process in our speaker population. We have speakers from everything from law enforcement, first responder, veteran recovery, to nursing recovery, to women with pregnant women, detoxing, eating disorders, trauma recovery, family of origin recovery, We have peer recovery coaches that are going to be speaking. We have one of our long-term people in long-term recovery from the local community is going to be speaking on 12 steps and how that the 12-step process in recovery. Am I missing anything? I mean, we have, and it's great because it touches on everything.
Yeah, it sounds like y'all got everything covered. I mean, that
Yeah.
just that sounds like that business card that's a scroll, right?
100%. Now I just have to figure out how to get them all
Schedule.
with their own time in 3 rooms.
That's a lot of email intake to
Yeah,
try
no
and
kidding.
devise that schedule, you know?
Yeah, and we have people literally coming in from Philadelphia. We have people coming in from Idaho. We have Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, obviously Austin speakers. We have one coming in from New Orleans. We have people coming in from all over the place to be able to come in and speak. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Now, you said this is the first time that it's being held at the South Park Hotel in Austin, right? But how many years have y'all been doing this symposium? Like, this isn't obviously the first year. I'm just curious. I want the audience to know that this has been an ongoing thing for you guys, correct?
Yeah, this is our 14th year, I believe.
Wow.
Even during COVID lockdown, we did it virtually, which was really interesting to get everybody together for that one. But yeah, this is our 14th year.
Fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Now,
congratulations on that.
I'm always curious, you know, and forgive me, but I'm always curious of why people do what they do, right? And so, in no particular order, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but what is your why? Like, I know y'all all have full-time jobs and y'all, you know, volunteer to be on the board, and I think that's, you know, amazing. But what is your why? Like, why did you get into the field? You
Good
know,
question.
so go ahead. Anybody. Colleen, you haven't said anything. So Colleen, what is your why, Colleen?
So my why is I'm a person in long-term recovery myself. I'm also somebody that grew up in a house with alcoholism. My dad's been sober 45 years. And so I've spent pretty much my entire life seeing recovery and seeing the evolution of treatment and how we went from treating people in the 80s. I'm not going to lie, I was in treatment as an adolescent. And so just the difference between what we did in the 80s versus what we do today in 2024. And there's been so many developments, so much research done. We have so much more information about how it affects people, how it affects the brain, how it affects the family unit. And you know, one of the things about being on the board is like everybody that's on the board right now, and since I've been a part of it, is so passionate about, you know, treating things from different perspectives. You know, it used to be a one size fits all, either go to AA or you're going to die and you're not going to make it. And, you know, we know that's not the case today. We know that there's so many other factors. And when we see people that are, you know, chronic relapsers, it's not because they didn't work a thorough 4th step, you know, and that used to be the belief, you know, we've got trauma, we have underlying issues, generational trauma. So, you know, that's what I do.
I love that. I could just, once you got like, once you had that platform and, you know, your enthusiasm, just like you were so adamant about what
that
you
passion.
do. And yeah, there's that passion. You could hear it in your answer. And so kudos to you. I think that's an amazing why. Meredith, you're up. So what is your why?
Yeah, I was a teen who struggled greatly with mental health and later on substance use in my 20s. But when I was a teen, I went to many therapists that were awful, like just awful. And then I
we
went
won't name them here. So
I know, Greg. I don't even remember their names really, but I do remember the name of the woman who changed my life, a therapist when I was 16. Her name.
You want to give her a shout out? What's her name?
Gina Novelino. And
Awesome.
when I got licensed, I Googled her number and called her. It was just like, I have a whole career
You've
because of
inspired me.
you. Yeah. Like I can
That's
remember
awesome.
being on her couch at 16 and saying, I'm gonna be you someday. I want to do
That's
exactly what you're doing.
amazing.
So, and anyways, and she remembered me. She was shopping at HEB and it was the coolest experience. We cried and like, it was just life changing. So when I went to school originally, I just went to be a therapist, not just a therapist, but, to be a therapist. And then I found myself just kind of wanting to do more in the organization. And so I worked for 10 years in a residential program for teens, and was a therapist, and then, found my way to being program director over the years. So that's a huge part of my why. And then being on this board, I really wanted to be an advocate for teen recovery. There's not very many of us here in Austin that are really passionate about that. And I also wanted to be a clinician with some experience. We have Colleen, but the board typically is people that are in like business development roles. And so I wanted to advocate also for the other side as well. So
I think that's amazing. I love your story. Now, I have one question though.
yeah.
Is she now you're like one of your friends and mentors? Like,
No,
oh, y'all got
not
to
at
be
all.
friends. Like,
I know. I know. Well, we were like, yeah, we need to get together. But I mean,
you need to
at
go
that
hang out
time
in
I was
HEB, Meredith. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
She's walking around somewhere.
I do. I need to. But at the time, I was working in residential, and if you have ever worked in residential treatment, it's kind of all consuming, and I just didn't have time for much.
Can
And
I give you
so,
some advice?
yeah,
I know
Other
we
side
just
of the
met,
table.
but you need to make time.
I know.
This woman, like,
Changed my life.
you just said it, and I've got it because we're recording, right? Just said it. This woman changed your life. You were
She did.
laying on that couch and you said, I want to be you when I grow up.
I
She
know.
changed your life. She single-handedly like
Changed mine.
spearheaded you in another direction to where you are now, not just on this podcast, because that's irrelevant, but like
Yeah.
the professional that you are now and the savior of lives that you treat. Like, she helped you
Reminder.
do that. You
Yeah.
need to make the effort.
I know. Well, I did at first.
No, but
And
now
I went back and I tried to, in my defense, I did try to re-find her phone number on Google and I can't find it.
we're
So
gonna find
Gina
her.
I was gonna
Chris
say
is amazing.
Matt can find it.
Yeah,
Chris
Gina
can
Novelino.
I own a marketing and PR firm,
Okay.
and that produces this podcast, 610 Marketing. And I've
Mhm.
got people. We'll find her,
Bring her
and
back.
then we're gonna get her on the show, and then we're gonna have like a Dr. Phil or Oprah moment. We're gonna bring you in and surprise her, and then
That'd be
the
great.
ratings are gonna be amazing.
Okay. I'm for
Okay.
it. Good. Yeah.
Chris, we gotta get to
Meredith.
work on that.
I actually have a question for you, Meredith. And
Mhm.
off camera, we kind of discussed the lack of adolescent programs in the Austin area.
Mhm.
So just discuss that real quick before we jump over to Lane or Kyle. Kind of discuss the lack of and how your organization is trying to turn the tide on that.
Yeah, and it's not just in Austin, it's really Texas in general. I recently did, if you do the SAMHSA Treatment Finder, I counted 306 adult programs in Texas, and I counted 26 adolescent programs in Texas. And some of those I'm like, are they still even open? I'm not really sure. So, and many people shy away from treating adolescents. There's a lot of liabilities and whatnot that come along with it, but I'm a huge advocate. I say they're no different than your, kind of ornery 20-year-old or, 23-year-old. They're just a little bit closer to that inner child, and very much can tap back into it a little bit easier. And so, yeah, our organization provides support, but we're not treatment. We provide peer-led support, recovery support, and so we have groups and social outings, and we do parent groups and things like that. But there's one residential program here in the Austin area, but again, it's primary mental health, and it's insurance and cash pay, and the kids that I worked with had no funding, and so there's a huge need, and that program is shut down now. But there's a huge need for teen support. For sure.
Well, we got to get the money man Lane on it, so the money
yeah.
is cut down. Come on,
Yeah.
man. Like, you know.
None of this is my money.
No, I
I'll
know.
make that very clear.
I'm just trying to
Thank you for
interject you into the
clarifying.
conversation. That's it. So that's all. I just took that cue as an opening, like money. All right, Lane's the money guy. Let's introduce Lane. So go ahead.
Well, my why started when I was a teenager. Why I work in this industry. I got sober when I was 18. I'm 35. I got sober when I was 18. And when I was 19, I went to Starlight Recovery Center, and I think I was out like maybe 14 months, and they kind of looked the other direction and hired me. And I haven't never looked back. And I've been working in treatment for the last 16 years. And so I really haven't known anything else. It's all I grew up, in my adult life into an adult in recovery, in treatment. And I've worked in facilities for a long time, going everywhere from an overnight behavioral tech to executive director, working at detoxes, residentials, and IOP and PHP programs. And a lot of what I do now is based on, so I had 5.5 years sober, and then I relapsed. And in that 5.5 years, I was raised in this very militant recovery atmosphere, throwing the big book at you, kind of what Colleen said. If you don't, if you're struggling, if you're not happy, joyous, and free all the time, then you're doing something wrong. And I ended up relapsing. I ended up, drinking. And this last time I got sober was in prison, and I'm coming up on 9 years now, 9 years sober. But I went back to work in the facilities. But what I saw was, like Colleen or like Meredith said, it's all consuming. You work in treatment, you work at a facility, you're there from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then you're on the phone answering emails, doing everything all night long. And I feel like the input is not, it doesn't correlate to the output and the success that we see.
Yeah.
And so what I do now is, I own Helm Recovery, and I do recovery coaching interventions. And so what I try to do is, Matt, kind of what you were saying, is just trying to really cater to these individuals to really, really get a lot more higher success rates. And I work a lot more with the mental health side of things. I have, I work with schizophrenia and schizoaffective disorder on a coaching and case management basis. And there's just, I think we can all attest to, there's just not enough resources. There's not enough people out there doing what needs to be done to help our community. And so my story is a lot more details. It can get a lot more interesting
well,
than
you can
that.
come back anytime, Lane. You can come back anytime. Yeah.
I'll leave my story at that. And my role on the, being on the TAP board, I think it was election season, like a couple years ago, and I was in TAP, and I was like, what is this kind of organization of, marketing people? And because it's traditionally just been like a marketing thing, it's been a marketing organization. And then we built this new board a couple of years ago, and a lot of different people came. I'm not clinical, and I'm really bad at marketing. I'm not a good marketer.
You sound like me, Lane. That's exactly who I am.
I've tried that role, and that's why I'm not in it anymore. Not very good at it. And so, we go and we have these board meetings, and we all have these discussions of like, what can we really do? We're all trying to really support, the addicts and people with mental health challenges and all this out there. But what are we doing for our own? What are we doing for us? What are we doing for all the other professionals that are struggling? What are we doing for, the tech that's working overnight over there across town, who's really, dude, techs relapse all the time. We hear it all the time that people are relapsing, people are really struggling, and where's the support? There's not a lot out there.
You're thinking bigger picture. This is why you got into it. You were thinking bigger picture. How can we not just help the addicts? How can we help the support system for the addicts, pretty much?
Absolutely. Who's going to help the helper? And and that's a lot of what the symposium is for too, is everybody come together, not just marketing and business development representatives, but therapists, director of operations, executive directors, all the nuts and bolts people that actually make all this work. And how do we create our own community that's based on mutual aid and helping each other? And so I think that, the board that we have right now is amazing, and we're really excited for things to come. And another thing about the symposium is I think this is the very first time we're doing 2 days, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's always just been one day, and now we're expanding into 2 days so that we can offer even more to the community, and not just our community, but all, Kyle said it, everybody's coming from around the country.
Are there tickets being sold at the symposium? Like somebody hears this and they want to go and they want to participate. Like where can they buy tickets? What is the kind of the process to partake in the symposium, this 2-day, first time 2-day symposium?
So you can
Kyle?
go
You
to
can go
our website.
Yeah.
We're all answering. You can go to our website. Yeah, it's austintap.org.
austintap.org.
AustinTap.org. Yeah.
TAAP.org, right?
TAAP.
austintap.org. All right.
Yep.
And last one, what's your
Kyle.
why?
So my why. No, I actually kind of just fell into working in recovery when I've been in recovery since 2005. And when I first walked out of treatment, I started working for an investment group in marketing and branding in Los Angeles, and then moved out to Austin with my wife. And our first one, we had another one on the way. And the company I brought with me to Austin, I got a phone call one day: close the door, you're not getting paid, tell the landlord sorry.
Wow.
And it was the first time since I was probably 14 that I didn't have a job. And I'm sitting at home with my wife, and she's 8.5 months pregnant. And she's like, suck it up. It's all right. We're going to be fine. And
shout out to your wife. That's awesome.
Yeah, no. And because she was the one, because it really got into my head, and I'm depressed. I'm like, oh, I'm a failure, blah, blah, blah. All these things run into my head. And I'm sitting on the couch, and she just said, go. If you just go get a job at Starbucks if you need to, just do something, because you're depressing me. And I was like, wow, thanks, honey. And I actually walked into the Austin Net, which is the TAP's monthly networking meeting. I stood up and said, hey, I'm Kyle. I actually said, I was so used to AA meetings and 12-step meetings, I stood up and said, hi, I'm Kyle, I'm an alcoholic. And,
muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like at a podium, I was like, oh, so used to it. And
the intro worked though, I'm assuming.
It did, and I literally, somebody handed me a business card and said, excuse me, we're looking for a marketer. And it was actually with the company where that's how Meredith and I met, because I started working at the treatment center down where she was. And then I've been, in marketing for business development and recovery for coming up on 10 years. Wow. It's been a long time. Coming up on 10 years.
I was going to say, I think that was 2013.
Yeah, I'm old.
Yeah.
And
no, we don't use that, Kyle. We use the word seasoned here.
Seasoned. Yeah.
Well seasoned.
You're
aged.
well seasoned. Yeah.
Yeah, like a fine wine that I can't drink anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But my family and I, we travel a lot, and we kind of took a sabbatical it was supposed to be 6 months. It was 2 years. And we took our kids and we traveled around the world with them and brought them to 28 countries, and ended up, we were supposed to be coming back to reality. And the tenant in our house said, hey, can we stay for another year? So I called my sponsor out in LA and I said, hey, do you have anything I can convert into a house? And he's like, well, I got a school bus out back. And it's a long story. He runs a museum and he's got collections. He's got a lot of things. And he goes, yeah, I got a school bus out back. So we moved into a school bus for a year. And we travel around the US and Canada for a year. And when I came back, there was a position open at Rock Springs at my hospital I work at currently. And like I was telling Chris when I was recording yesterday, I go, I didn't know I had mental health problems until I got sober. You know, everybody else did, but I didn't really know I had mental health problems, you know?
Yeah.
Once you stopped self-medicating, it all came rushing in.
Yeah, and it comes in and I'm like, what is this? You know, and I was like, why am I angry? Why am I sad? You know, and it was like there was so much going on. And I really, you know, we've all touched on it, kind of that co-occurring disorder, that mental health with that substance use, you know. And I got sober at old school AA. Shut up, sit down, take the cotton out of your mouth and put it in your ears. No one wants to hear from you. You're new, you know. I mean, hell, I went to meetings in LA where you weren't allowed to speak until you had 5 years sober.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And I mean,
like
it had some amazing speakers come in, but it was a whole different mentality, you know? And I think that being an advocate for that mental health aspect of it is really why I joined the TAP board, was kind of bringing in that influence of that mental health, you know? And like Lane said, it's like, you know, it's that mental health of everybody that works in recovery too, because there's so much that goes on but you have all these professionals that go, I'm supposed to be the professional in the room. I can't go to my counterpart that I'm supposed to be, you know, like on the same level with and talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, and that takes down a lot of people, a lot of people, because they can't open up about it. And so I think what brought me to the board mainly was that bringing in that mental health and that substance. And, you know, I thought when I got sober, I was going to get fixed, you know, 30 days, walk out, you know, I'm going to be farting rainbows. Everything's going to be great.
Didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah, everybody's going to be fine with me. You know, all those people I screwed over, they're going to be happy and give me high fives and a parade and stuff. I almost swore. I got to stop swearing. I'm old. But yeah, that's my why.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love everyone's why.
There's a reason why there's the like kind of Lane touched on it. There's a new energy for the board, and it's a new direction, and you can see just kind of y'all's individual backgrounds, even though they are completely different, right? I don't think anybody else but Kyle's lived in a school bus, but
not sober.
Not sober. But given the fact that there, you know, y'all have such individual stories, you can still feel the synergy, that there's a purpose, like it's purpose driven. Like, you know, for whatever your story is, it's brought you to helping others, you know, and there's that synergy. And so I'm super excited for the symposium. Y'all, obviously 2 days now. It used to be 1 day. Like, come on, you got to a bigger venue. That speaks volumes for what you're doing, you know? So I'm just going to kudos to you guys. Like, you keep doing God's work. That's awesome.
Yeah. And you know, during the quick little introductions of yourselves and your whys, a few of you had mentioned the motto or the mission statement, which is "It takes a village to recover." What does that mean? I know we did in the interview, we kind of discussed that, but for the listeners today, how'd you guys arrive at that motto, and what does it mean to you guys? Anyone?
We have, you know,
everyone.
Go ahead.
Everyone.
Go ahead.
Meredith, you go first.
Okay. We were kind of talking about this year's symposium and wanting to reach more people and broaden our reach, if you will. And so we were like, you know, what could we do, you know, when we're thinking about recovery, it's not necessarily one lane that helps everyone or one avenue that helps everyone. It really it takes everyone's effort, a collective effort, and it takes a village. And so that's really where we landed with the motto. And then the more that we dug into it, I'm like, can we do it every year? It takes a village, because it's true. It's so wonderful. So yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
agree with
be
that.
your village right now, Meredith, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
say find that woman.
Find Gina.
Find
Thank
Gina.
you. Thank you.
Find
Thank you.
Gina. I'm going to be your village.
Okay.
You know, I will share my contact information with all you guys after the show, and I will with Chris and I will find Gina.
We'll find her.
Gina. Okay.
Yeah,
She's from New Jersey.
and it doesn't matter.
Okay.
We can find her.
But
We
I think
can
she lives
find
in
her.
Austin, so yeah.
Yeah,
Gina.
we'll be able to find her.
We'll find her. Yeah, we're gonna find her. There's definitely she's got to be on TikTok or something. So you know, I'm just kidding.
She's older, y'all. I don't.
I'm just kidding.
She's gonna be like, this old client's stalking me.
I
We'll
know.
look her.
I know.
Okay, then she's got a MySpace. We'll find her. So it's all good.
Wow. Wow. Maybe.
Well, thank you guys so much for you know sharing your time and your story, and talking about the symposium. I think it's going to be a great event. I know Chris is going to be there. I'm definitely planning on being there. Um, I can't wait. I think it's going to be great. So, you know, and you guys are friends of the show now. So if ever you want to come back or make an announcement of what you guys, you know, the great work you are doing, or an event that's coming up, then please, you know, just reach out, and you've always got a space on the show.
I
We'll
agree.
just send the invoice to Lane. So
Yeah, the money man.
I'm kidding, Lane. I'm kidding. So, all right. So, anything else? Anybody want to kind of give a last minute shout out besides Meredith and Gina? Gina, if you're listening, come on. I gotta reconnect.
Yeah, I was just gonna say austintap.org, austintaap.org to
Right here.
register. Yep. And then we also have some sponsorship opportunities if people want to come in, and we usually have about 40 to 50 booths set up for different program and resources for clinicians, clinical team. And the good thing is kind of it takes the village goes into that resource fair too, because we try and touch on everything from nonprofit resources all the way through to aftercare.
Fantastic.
And if someone's interested in being a sponsor, who do they contact for that? Is it Lane, the money man, or
It's
who do
actually
they
a link.
contact?
There's a link on the website is you can register or pick sponsorship in the same place.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
AustinTap, TAAP.org.
Yes, sir.
AustinTap.org.
And also
Awesome.
want to let anybody listening know that, like we kind of touched on before, that, you know, PAP, Symposium, Austin, that the Symposium is the one thing we do a year. It's like our big event, but we're doing stuff all through the year, and you don't have to be clinically licensed. You don't even have to work in treatment to be a part of what we do.
I love that.
You just need to show up.
You
You know, just
need
show
to have,
up.
you need to be purpose driven. You just need to want to show up. Yeah.
Even if you don't have a purpose, even if you're looking for your purpose, and
We'll
you
give you
just
one.
we'll
We'll give you a purpose.
Yeah.
if you're just looking for a community, then you
I
can
love it.
come on board.
And
love
Lane, what's that event that you guys do? It's Austin Net, I believe, is what it is. It's a monthly meeting, correct?
Austin Net. It's the second Wednesday of every month, and you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, just Austin Tap. And there's announcements. We do posts all the time with information about where it's going to be. It rotates from, you know, different venues, different venues, and there's free lunch every month. So if you just want to come grab a bite to eat and meet some cool people, just look for us on the social medias and find us every month, and we'll be there.
That's fantastic. Guys, you guys are amazing, and I can't rave about you enough. Like I can feel it that y'all are doing some great work, and anybody that comes in contact with you, I'm just gonna tell you, you guys are a blessing to them, because I can really genuinely hear, you know, what you guys do, and how awesome you are. So kudos. I'm just giving you your flowers now. So
Yeah,
All
I
right.
agree with
Appreciate it.
you. Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I think you guys show a lot of passion and determination in what you do. A lot of people are lucky that you guys are doing what you're doing. So I want to thank you for coming out, joining with us, and joining us on this podcast, and kind of sharing your information, your drive, and where they can find information on TAP. So we do appreciate that.
Thank you,
all
guys.
right, guys. Until next week, it's been another great episode of Mind Split Cafe. Check out the symposium for austintap.org. It's May 9th and 10th at the Austin South Park Hotel. And if you want sponsorship opportunities or more information, again, go to that website, austintap.org. And you get to hang out with some great people. So, Colleen, Lane, Meredith. Ooh, excuse me. Kyle, I have
got you,
Spartan Rainbows, Kyle. So you guys are awesome. And thank you so much for joining the show.
We'll see everyone next week. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All
Thank
right.
you, guys.
Like we weren't supposed to come up with something this clean, like something happened.